my friends, I'm Mel for WhatCulture Wrestling here. I hope you are having a lovely Christmas weekend. And in case you didn't see SmackDown ups and downs yesterday, at the moment, all the WhatCulture editors, rightfully so, are at home chilling out and getting a much-deserved break. Meaning I am not only on hosting duties, but I'm also going to edit the damn thing. And when we did this 24 hours ago, some people were like, well, that was really goofy. Okay, fine. I can take criticism. And to me, the opposite of goofy is classy. So boom, there's the new background. Oh my God, it's so cool. I'm so relaxed right now. And also, we need to look classy, so bam. That's right, and we need one last thing to finish it off. Kabam. And that is a cigar. I mean, I don't smoke, but this apparently is my definition of classy. But don't worry about any of that because we do have to take the very festive fingers of power and go through the latest episode of AEW Rampage and give the good bits an up and the bad bits a down. So let's all brace ourselves and let's go. Hit the intro. Right, now screw this classy stuff, let's go back to what we did yesterday. Jungle Boy versus Isaiah Cassidy was kicking off a very packed AEW Rampage this week. And of course, this is kind of like a mini feud as we do build to the Jurassic Express taking on the Lucha Brothers because we keep teasing this. But the reason I like this more than anything is because it was AEW Homegrown Star taking on AEW Homegrown Star. Makes me feel all warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. I kind of look on like a parent being like, man, they've come so far. Then I feel disappointed in myself because it's a weird thing to say. And I suppose there was a little bit of a disconnect with this because nobody in their right mind actually thought Jungle Boy was going to lose. I even asked my mum and she said, no, I don't think the long-haired curly guy will be defeated. And she still calls wrestling WWE. I mean, she also calls MMA UFC, but at least she tries. Otherwise, this was just a super fun match. Jungle Boy had his ribs all taped because wrestling. And one of the first things that each guy did is Jungle Boy hit this ridiculous looking drop kick, and then Isaiah Cassidy did this like springboard cutter into the top rope. It looked like it killed him. Isaiah was then literally flying out of the ring in order to fly back into the ring. I think the referee was so mesmerized by this, like, oh my God, this wrestling is so good. He totally forgot about Matt Hardy at ringside, who snuck in and he smacked Jungle Boy right in the face. Otherwise, these guys were just going at it to the point Jungle Boy hit this modified Falcon Arrow, so Isaiah Cassidy came back with this Poison Rana. And I think once again, everybody on the outside started to get so excited, they wanted to get involved. So Matt Hardy's crew was doing their thing, then the Jurassic Express was here. They were trying to balance the books when Matt Hardy was being a super dick. Christian Cage just speared him. And by the time the focus went back onto the squared circle, Jungle Boy was able to apply the snare trap and Isaiah Cassidy tapped out. So this was just lovely stuff, and 2022, I feel, in my Tootsie Toes, is gonna be a big year for Jungly Jim. Let's not call him Jungly Jim, that's not fair. The point is, it's getting it up. Ramiro Promo was next. Thank Flubbins for that. We haven't seen him for a while, which gets me a little bit worried because I need him in my life, but he told us he will be returning to AEW very soon, and when he does, he's gonna have no flaws, and then he wants to go home to his wife. He also said some other things, but this a family show. His final line too was something along the lines of, redemption doesn't come with a smile. It comes with a price. So he remains All Elite Wrestling's final boss and apparently is here in my hand. He's not. And I tell you, when he does come back, I'd be all good if he went after Hangman Adam Page, even though that would negate the AEW World Championship tournament a little bit. But do not forget, Miro was a last-minute replacement, so I say do it. Hook was then on AEW Rampage, and you know what we do when Hook is here. We say huzzah for Hook, and we get really excited. And I know when he did debut, some people are all like, well, I can't believe everybody's going over the top. But let's say we did all go a little bit OTT. Isn't that more fun and isn't that more enjoyable? Why would you want to sit there and go, well, I refuse to buy into all this hype because I'm one of those fuddy-duddies. Also, when you do go back and watch his first match, it was absolutely brilliant for a dude who was having his first match, and now we've got to match 2. Well, I'm just giving him a round of applause. Powerhouse Hobbs also joined the commentary team, so all of Team Taz was watching their boy, and somewhat randomly, he was taking on Bear Bronson, but I totally understand what AEW is doing. Last time, Hook was taking on a flippy dude, and now he's taking on a monster. Much like before too, Hook just took him to school, which was needed because he is a bear, meaning he probably hasn't gone through a human being education system. The fans also went nuts, which helped so much because he comes across like a star. If you can believe it, at one point, Bear Bronson basically hit him with a tombstone. I mean, that's what it was. And Hook just went, nah, bruh, I don't care. And he got right back up to his feet. I absolutely loved it. And Taz did this back in the day as well. I mean, we're essentially giving Hook the Goldberg treatment, and why the hell not? Do you know what happened to Bill Goldberg? He became a massive deal. He followed up with this badass clothesline and this amazing looking suplex, and then even had the time to go, oh man, yeah, as the crowd went even more crazy for him. And then he finished Bear Bronson off with the red rum. I can't wait for Hook. I mean, he's already here, so that doesn't make any sense. I just think he's such a badass because he half doesn't care, but half really, really cares. Hook is now 2-0 in AEW, and again, we just mentioned Billy Boy. Why don't we get to a point when he's 187-0, and then somebody can hit him with a cattle prod and beat him? Don't do that last bit, but I am here for Hook, and it's Get It Up. Quick recap of everything that's been happening between Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz 2.0 and their son Daniel Garcia, when it was time for Chris Statlander versus Layla Hirsch. And do I know why this match happened? Not really, but I do know that in many ways Layla Hirsch is a little bit like a female version of Hook. There's just something about her where deep down you're like, man, I hope she kicks all the ass. Now, we're not there quite yet, but at the end of this thing, I think we teased it. Also, this was really, really solid. We can't forget about Chris Statlander either, who just gets better each and every single week. And also, this is really good for human-alien relations because we should be accepting our extraterrestrial cousins onto our planet. As usual, Hirsch is on the small side, but when she does moves, it just looks like she's wrecking fools. And as a citizen of this Earth, I was a bit like, oh man, what about intergalactic relations? This isn't going to do anything for that, especially when Layla went up to Chris and slapped her right round the face. Statlander responded straight away with a blue thunder bomb that looked absolutely badass, but then Layla was taking her to Suplex Village. I don't want to say Suplex City, because obviously it ties into something else, but I completely understand that Suplex Village sounds terrible. They went back and forth from this point on, and I was like, man, I will take a proper feud between these two, we just need to get some story in there. And I was a little bit surprised by the finish, because given, as we've already mentioned, how Hirsch comes across, I really would reserve her tapping out to like minor occasions, and as you've already figured out here, she tapped out. It was to Chris's spider crab, which does look like a devastating move, and afterwards, like I say, Chris Statlander was like, please shake my hand, human being, and Layla pushed it away, and she stormed off. So hopefully this will add in some character, and hopefully we can revisit this. My eyebrow goes up because I am intrigued. And then it arrived, and I was so excited. I was so excited because I knew what I wanted deep down in my soul, because I knew it would make the internet melt down, and it's exactly what I got. Cody Rhodes versus Sami Guevara for the TNT title. We had all the Mark Henry stuff beforehand, who kind of insinuated that Cody had one foot out of the door, because of course he has lots of extracurricular activities. But I tell you this, I unashamedly love Cody Rhodes. He totally knows what he's doing. He is so smart. And as far as I'm concerned, he is the most fascinating character right now in professional wrestling. We also had David Crockett at ringside to present the winner with the championship, so we were not mucking around. And Sami Guevara just came racing out as soon as the bell had gone, to the point Cody Rhodes had to get out of the ring, and he went to take a breath, standing amongst the fans. I'm going to say this a lot until the day I die. Don't pretend this guy don't know what he's doing. This is when the whole "let's go Cody, Cody sucks" chant started, and amazingly Sami Guevara started to do a bunch of Cody moves, including the disaster kick. Unfortunately, he did miss that, so Cody then smashed him with a springboard cutter. And how good is that maneuver? I actually think I could watch it all day. Sami also then tried to do a shooting star press from the apron onto the floor, but Cody got out of the way of that and he grabbed Guevara and threw him into Barry Barricade, and that guy's just getting murked all the time. And this hurt Sami's arm, so that's when Cody went to work. Cody also took over for so long here, being the nerds we are, we were like, well, clearly Sami Guevara will do his big comeback, and that will eventually lead to his big win. And there was still more teasing of this because Sami hit his own version of the Crossroads and a 450 to the floor, which is the most insane thing I've ever seen. But when he went for a Hurricane Rana, Rhodes stopped him and he powerbombed him into the crowd. Go back to what I said a few seconds ago. They were then kicking out of all of the finishes, and honestly, I was having such a good time. This whole thing was so well worked, and it got to the point where Sami was like, well, I'm gonna have to go to the top rope, and I'm gonna have to hit the 630. But he went for it. Cody got his knees up. He hit one crossroads, he hit two crossroads, and what this smart tamale has now done is essentially introduce the Tiger Driver 98 as his finish. And of course, when you hook in the Tiger Driver 1998, it looks like a pedigree, and you heard every single person in that building go, oh. He knows what he's doing. It did finish Sami off, so we do have a brand new TNT champion. And as a quick aside, one day, and probably one day very soon, Cody is gonna hit the pedigree instead. And I'm going to be a very happy man. The fans went nuts to this ending, and all of a sudden the boos were raining down, but Cody just celebrated in the best way possible. And I know, I get it, Sammy Guevara's reign as TNT champion wasn't the best, but when it comes to the TNT belt, this is what you should be doing with it. We have the AEW World Championship where people get super duper long runs, and it only changes on pay-per-view, so you have to make sure you're balancing it out. We did that here. This honestly was such a good match. I cannot sing its praises enough. And I, for one, am really happy that Cody Rhodes is a three-time TNT champ, and I am giving it up. There's so much more we could get into as well, but I'm worried that I will bore you, and I'll probably save it for a video in a few weeks when we have more information. But my word, did I enjoy this edition of AEW Rampage. Like I say, they packed it like an accordion, but I needed it in my life. It was just fun, and it's getting it up. Now please do leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of AEW Rampage, the Christmas Day edition. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Go and watch SmackDown Ups and Downs from yesterday if you want more nonsense. Also, make sure you go to WhatCulture.com, follow us on social media, and just have a rollicking good time. My name is Simon for WhatCulture. Thank you for joining me as always. Know that I love you. Have a great Boxing Day, which I think may be a UK expression. I don't know. Just have a good 26th of December, and I will see you soon.